My name is Uchenna Ofodile. I'm the CEO of Tigo DRC. I've worked in Africa now for almost 15 years, in Nigeria, in Ghana, and now in DRC. Prior to that, I worked for many years in the United States, which is where I was born and raised. Well, I think I wouldn't call it so much a challenge. The wonderful thing about Africa is that every country is very different. And obviously coming from Ghana to DRC meant learning a new culture and actually learning a new language, and also working in a completely new organization. But I've really embraced these challenges. I think one of the most important things that you can do whenever taking on a new role and obviously going to a new country is having a very deep understanding of the country. DRC is a massive, massive country with close to 80 million people. They say that it's several countries in one country, and actually having traveled around the country, this is so. Tigo today is operating in 5 or 6 regions. And each of those regions hold a special and unique opportunity for us because of how diverse the country is. So it's not been challenging. It's more about having to learn, analyze, and understand the new opportunities presented for me. The wonderful thing I would say about Tigo and Millicom, our parent company, is that we really strive to differentiate ourselves. And what we are doing as Tigo is to take our customers on a digital journey, and I think this is what separates us from everyone else. Our focus is very much on how do we drive people to use data, because this is the future, It's very much around, having people embark on what we call the digital lifestyle. We really believe that through people's mobile phones and the internet, people's lives are going to change significantly, and you're already seeing that in many countries today. Well, I would say first and foremost is that Millicom, our parent company, is really committed to Africa. They have a strong understanding of the various markets in Africa, so it's reflected, in our performance. I think the second thing is that, we're very clear about what Tigo wants to achieve in Africa. We are different from the other operators in the sense that we want to take our customers on the digital lifestyle journey. We think that that's the future. Data is the future, and you can see that in terms of the fact that in many African countries, data usage is growing significantly. Now in DRC, the penetration on internet is sub 10%, as well as smartphones. And this is where Tigo and DRC sees a huge opportunity in terms of where we can take leadership. So there's this belief, not just in Africa, but in terms of what can be achieved here. And therefore there's a lot of investment supporting the aspirations of Tigo and Millicom in Africa. DRC is such an amazing country. It's the size of Western Europe, for one, with close to 80 million people. And the penetration in terms of ICT is 50% on the mobile, and for internet it's less than 10%. So we see nothing but opportunity here. And when I talk about data, there's strong growth within the younger segments of the population. So we were recently in one of the universities here, and they're all talking about data. They're all on WhatsApp. They're all using Instagram. They're all using Snapchat. So they're very much ahead of the curve. They know what's going on. The job for a company like Tigo is to help enable them, and we think that we are doing just that. There's been quite a lot of investments in 3G. We are, sub-G. We are our customers with the latest smartphones so that they can do more. And, very much tied to the strategy, which is how do we get people on the digital lifestyle? How do we enable them? How do we ensure that they are doing things that in the past may have been impossible for them? And, we will continue to invest in this belief and this strategy so we can take leadership here in DRC. You know, today we are growing quite aggressively. We're actually growing 25% year on year, which is fantastic. And the hope for me is that, you know, Tigo DRC will continue to grow even more aggressively. It's a huge country. The penetration of the country in total is sub 50%. So I think the market is still open for play, as opposed to what you may see in some other African countries. And the job for me now and for Tigo is to see how we can position ourselves to take advantage of this, you know, penetration that is still up for grabs. So, you know, we are growing. We are continuing to invest because Millicom has such a strong belief in Africa. We want to continue to drive the digital conversation here and own that and lead in that. And we do things to ensure that that's happening. So for instance, you know, we measure network quality because we want to understand how we're perceived and actually how we are performing in terms of people's experience on data. And the good news is that actually in terms of data experience, we lead. So, you know, we're putting our money where our mouth is, you know.